The bromance is definitely over. President Trump and Elon Musk erupted into a nasty public feud today.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
The extraordinary squabble happened before the eyes of the world as the president was meeting with the Chancellor of Germany in the Oval Office.
It was the bromance of the century, the improbable union of the world's richest man with the world's most powerful.
That's 24-karat gold.
But all that glitters is not gold, and yet no one could have predicted a breakup as fast, as public, and as ugly. Trump was furious that Musk had publicly criticized his big, beautiful bill as an abomination that would bankrupt America. But Musk was watching on in real time and hit back immediately. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude. The president then hit back on his own social media platform. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, and he just went crazy. And then came the threat. The easiest way to save money is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. To which Musk quickly replied, "Go ahead, make my day."
Trump's relationship with Musk remains icy as public spat goes private. The two seem to have paused their online war of words. But the president may sell his Tesla and has continued to criticize Musk within his inner circle, according to those close to him. President Trump is blaming Elon Musk's behavior on drug use as the acrimonious blow-up of their partnership left both men, who lobbed online insults and threats at each other on Thursday, with a lot at risk. Mr. Trump has been telling associates over the last 24 hours that Mr. Musk's crazy behavior is linked to his drugs, according to two people with knowledge of Trump's private comments. News reports detailing Elon Musk's drug use have prompted renewed attention to ketamine, a powerful anesthetic that has become increasingly popular as a therapy for treatment-resistant depression and other mental health issues. Although Mr. Musk has acknowledged using ketamine in the past to treat depression, he has denied suggestions that he is currently using ketamine or any other drug. "I am not taking drugs," he wrote last week in a social media post following the publication of an article in the New York Times that described reports of his use of drugs on the campaign trail last year. Those drugs included ketamine and other psychedelic compounds, among them MDMA and psilocybin mushrooms. Mr. Musk left the White House last week. Since then, he and President Trump have traded barbs on social media over the president's domestic policy bill and have mentioned government contracts with Mr. Musk's companies and Mr. Musk's relationship to the White House. Mr. Trump, who was briefed on the article in the Times, has been telling associates in the last day or so that Musk's crazy behavior is linked to his drug use, according to a Times report citing two people with knowledge of Mr. Trump's private conversations. But later on Friday, Mr. Trump told reporters he did not want to comment on Mr. Musk's drug use. The very public feud between the two men has once again drawn unflattering attention to ketamine, a drug that has become increasingly available at legal clinics across the country. It is also used recreationally and can be dangerous when misused. In an interview with the journalist Don Lemon in March 2024, Mr. Musk said he took only a small amount of ketamine, about once every 2 weeks, as a prescribed treatment for depression. "If you've used too much ketamine, you can't really get work done, and I have a lot of work," he said. But according to people familiar with his consumption, Mr. Musk had been using ketamine often, sometimes daily during the campaign, and mixing it with other drugs, the Times found. It is unclear whether Mr. Musk, 53, was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House this year. But he has exhibited erratic behavior, insulting cabinet members and gesturing like a Nazi. Chronic ketamine use is also associated with bladder problems. According to the Times article, Mr. Musk told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder. The Republican Party's single biggest donor, Elon Musk, is saying that he may leave the party. Musk launched a poll on X Thursday asking if there should be a new political party representing centrists, and it came back with 80% saying yes. "The people have spoken. A new political party is needed in America to represent the 80% in the middle," he wrote, calling it the America Party in a subsequent post. On the Air Force One flight, I asked President Trump if he had any concerns about Musk's drug use when he was working for him. "I don't want to comment on his drug use. I don't know what his status is," the president replied. I read an article in the New York Times. I thought it sounded very unfair to me. That's different from what he's been saying privately. As my colleagues and I reported earlier today, Trump has been telling associates that Musk is crazy and must be doing drugs. After the relationship between President Trump and Elon Musk exploded into warfare Thursday, Mr. Trump suggested that he might eliminate the tech titan's federal contracts. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it, Mr. Trump posted on his social media platform. That's not as easy as Mr. Trump implies. The Pentagon and NASA remain intensely reliant on SpaceX, Mr. Musk's rocket launch and space-based communications company, to get to orbit and move government data across the world. But there are options available to the president that could make Mr. Musk's relationship with the federal government much more difficult than it has been so far in Mr. Trump's second administration. Mr. Trump's most accessible weapon to punish Mr. Musk is the ability to instruct federal regulators to intensify oversight of his business operations, reversing a slowdown in regulatory actions that benefited Mr. Musk's businesses after Mr. Trump was elected. In an administration that has defined itself by reducing regulation and oversight, it would not be difficult to selectively ramp up oversight again, said Stephen L. Schooner, a former White House contracts lawyer who is now a professor at George Washington University. With a decree, Mr. Trump could suspend Mr. Musk's security clearance, a step that the Trump administration has also taken against some of its Biden-era critics. That move would make it harder for Mr. Musk to continue in his role as the chief executive at SpaceX, given its billions of dollars in Pentagon contracts. Pentagon investigators had already been examining if Mr. Musk has violated federal security clearance requirements for disclosing contacts with foreign government leaders, the New York Times reported last year. The Trump administration could also slow down new contracts going to SpaceX in the years to come, perhaps by looking for ways to drive more work to its rivals, such as Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin or the Boeing and Lockheed partnership called United Launch Alliance. But billions of dollars in financial commitments have already been made to SpaceX for launches that will be spread out over the rest of Mr. Trump's term to deliver astronauts and cargo to the International Space Station and even the Moon, as well as to send military and spy satellites into orbit. Moreover, the services SpaceX provides are vital to some of Mr. Trump's top agenda items, such as building a new space-based missile defense program that the Pentagon is calling Golden Dome. That program will require dozens of launches to orbit as well as space-based observation and data transmission systems to track and help intercept missile threats. SpaceX is by far the dominant global player in these launches. While Blue Origin and other companies like Rocket Lab and Relativity Space are building or have recently built their own new rockets, none of them have the kind of launch record and reliability that SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket has. Overall, the federal government has awarded nearly $18 billion in contracts to SpaceX over the past decade, including $3.8 billion just in the 2024 fiscal year, according to a tally by the New York Times. That makes SpaceX one of the largest federal contractors, with most of that money coming from NASA and the Pentagon. Terminating SpaceX's contracts would end the U.S. capability to launch astronauts to orbit for the foreseeable future, said Laura Seward-Forksick, founder of the space consulting firm Astrolytical. It would also significantly delay the U.S. effort to return humans to the moon, she said. Bethany Stevens, NASA's press secretary, hinted on Mr. Musk's X platform late Thursday afternoon, as the verbal war between Mr. Musk and Mr. Trump continued to play out, that the deals with SpaceX are in fact not going to be canceled anytime soon. NASA will continue to execute upon the president's vision for the future of space, Ms. Stevens said, without mentioning Mr. Musk or SpaceX by name. We will continue to work with our industry partners to ensure the president's objectives in space are met. But Mr. Trump has more flexibility when it comes to the alphabet soup of federal agencies that regulate SpaceX as well as Tesla, Mr. Musk's car company, X, the social media platform, The Boring Company, his underground drilling outfit, and Neuralink, his computer chip brain implant startup. The federal government, by most historical and ethical norms, is not supposed to be used as a retaliatory machine to punish political enemies. And that practice by Mr. Trump would be abnormal and inappropriate, Mr. Schooner said. But the Trump administration, including the Justice Department, has already shown itself willing to take up investigations that target Mr. Trump's enemies or organizations that he dislikes, like Harvard University or even his former aides who have become critics, like Chris Krebs, his former top cybersecurity official. Before Mr. Trump was elected, at least 11 federal agencies had ongoing investigations or lawsuits targeting Mr. Musk's companies. These included the Federal Aviation Administration's scrutiny of launch safety issues, the Environmental Protection Agency's inquiry into potential water pollution at SpaceX's Texas launch site, and transportation regulators' questions about fatal accidents involving Tesla cars using autopilot. Several of those inquiries were put on hold. In other instances, fines that Mr. Musk's companies had been assessed were being reconsidered, including one that the FAA announced last September for what it said were safety. But no other American company can currently do what NASA needs. Boeing, the other company NASA hired to take astronauts to orbit, has yet to complete fixes for its Starliner capsule after a test mission left 2 NASA astronauts, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, in orbit for 9 months before they finally returned to Earth in a SpaceX Crew Dragon. The aerospace company Northrop Grumman also has a contract to take cargo to the space station with its Cygnus spacecraft. But the most recent Cygnus had to be scrapped after it was damaged during shipment to Florida for launch. NASA has hired a third company, Sierra Space of Louisville, Colorado, for cargo deliveries. But the company's Dream Chaser spaceplane has yet to make its first flight. SpaceX has also won contracts to launch many of NASA's most important science missions like Dragonfly, a nuclear-powered drone that is to fly around Saturn's moon Titan. Further complicating any attempt to kill Mr. Musk's contracts is that agencies would likely still have to pay termination fees for the work, a cost that could rival that of simply buying the promised goods. Mr. Schooner said IT would be a bad idea. He said, Elon Musk appears to recognize this leverage he has over NASA. He initially threatened on Thursday, as the war of words with Mr. Trump played out, to stop future flights to deliver astronauts to the space station. But he appeared to walk back that threat later in the day. On the flight to New Jersey a short time ago, President Trump came to the back cabin of Air Force One to talk to us traveling press for 10 minutes. He answered questions on several topics, including Elon Musk. He said he wasn't thinking about Musk, but that he wished him and Tesla well. I asked the president how seriously he was considering cutting some of Musk's government contracts, a threat he made Thursday on Truth Social. Trump replied, "We'll take a look at everything. I look at everything. He's got a lot of money. He gets a lot of subsidy. So we'll take a look at that. Only if it's fair. Only if it's fair for him and for the country. I would certainly think about it, but it has to be fair." Laura Loomer, a right-wing political activist who has feuded with Elon Musk in the past, took to X on Friday evening to defend Jared Isaacman, President Trump's former pick to lead NASA. In a post, she wrote that Isaacman was not a Democrat, as Trump had alleged, and seemed to urge the president to reconsider his decision to remove Isaacman's nomination. Musk replied to her post with a bullseye emoji. Jared Isaacman, President Trump's former NASA pick whose nomination incited the chain of events that led to the explosion between Elon Musk and President Trump, is making his most explicit comments about his part in the saga. He just posted on X, "Any role my nomination played in these fireworks is minor and unimportant compared to what is at stake. What matters is reconciliation between the world's greatest engineer and the leader of the free world. The country needs it. The world needs it." While Elon Musk has been relatively quiet on X today, he has continued his insults directed at Stephen K. Bannon, one of his most vocal critics. In an interview yesterday with the New York Times, Bannon advocated for the Trump administration's investigation into Musk's immigration history to the U.S. In response, Musk has called Bannon a number of slurs, as well as a criminal. The spectacular blow-up on Thursday between President Trump and Elon Musk has ripped apart a shaky alliance between two of the world's most powerful men. Their feud could have far-reaching consequences if it drags on or even escalates. Here are 8 ways they could inflict pain on each other.